She's had her hand up for some time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we're relatively new to Spokane, so I'm just trying to figure out how this works. And I'm hearing you say, and I've read articles and stuff, that you're, conservative, constitutional. And I'm just trying to figure out, the last election, when Matt Shea ran, you actually endorsed his.
I didn't endorse him.
Well, I got a flyer actually at my home with your arm around here saying.
I took a picture. Took a picture with her.
You can support people.
Not with Matt, it was with.
No, it was not with Matt, it was
Right,
against his
right.
opponent, so I'm just trying to figure out what that
Then
meant.
Let's get you
I'm just
totally
trying
spooled up on
to,
that.
yeah, I'm
Because-
just trying to clarify.
I think the major question is, how do you feel about Matt Shea?
Okay, that would maybe be better, because I'm just confused.
Okay, well, let me break your confusion.
Okay.
Folks, when it's election time, I am in everybody's photographs. I am. I cannot go to a public event and have a candidate or elected official who doesn't want to do this.
So were you not told that that was going to be a mailer sent out against Matt Shea?
I didn't know it was going to be used to that level, yeah.
So what do you feel about Matt Shea?
What do I feel about Matt Shea? Matt and I have had a serious falling out. And I'll tell you why. Matt was not honest with me. And that's why. Matt, folks, time blends, I think it was 2011. We had a bomb placed on the streets of Spokane. I was in that march. We had some training thereafter that my training unit found about neo-Nazis. The training was put on by this great group called Southern Poverty Law Center.
Did you use the word great?
He's being
He's being
facetious.
And the reason I'm facetious is when they came and did the training and this all kind of got blown up, I asked them, send me that training back so I can see what you actually were talking about. They wouldn't. They wouldn't do it. And that
They're a
really
bad
upset me.
agency.
That really
They're a
upset me.
socialist agency.
That should have
Now,
sent you a good warning signal.
Now, before that, what did I know about the Southern Poverty Law Center? Well, they're the people that put Butler out of business. That's what I knew about it. Okay? So Matt shows up at that training. Now, I always knowing Matt, always got phone calls from him. Actually helped him in his first election get elected. Helped him in his second one. But you know, when Matt went to that training, and the next thing I know, I'm getting an email from Alan Creech going, "What are you teaching your deputies?" What the heck is all this about?
You got something from who?
Alan Creech.
The gentleman that we killed.
No,
Son.
his son,
Not Scott.
Interesting.
Scott.
Yeah. And I went, "What's all this about?" So I called the training center and I said, "Well, we're doing this training." And what I didn't realize is that organization had listed Matt as one of the 10 most dangerous people there is in government. So rather than Matt, I find out from Matt that this has happened. Quite frankly, rather than find out from Matt that they had done this, because a simple phone call from Matt prior to that training would have been, "They've done what? No, they're not coming." Now, Matt didn't do that. Matt did not call me and go, "Sheriff, are you aware of what these people are saying about me?" He didn't do that. What Matt did was start talking about that, and in one of the clips says that Southern Poverty Law Center said that they could get drones for us, drone capability. Never happened. I had people in that class and I asked that question. Did that? Didn't happen. If you're going to do something like that, you have, especially a friend, because you have to understand, before that, we were friends. You should at least give him a heads up. Now, Matt also, that May, sponsored legislation that said that police officers, if I remember correctly, should be able to park in private parking lots and write reports in cars, unmarked cars.
Unmarked cars,
Unmarked cars.
without the permission of the owner of the property.
Yeah, if that was what it was.
Correct.
Do you know how I found out about that? He dropped that bill on the very night. And folks, I want to reserve. So remember, I get the clothes. All right? Remember, you kind of eat up my clothes. I find out at our law enforcement memorial. Taps had just sounded. I did an about face right into Jeff Humphrey's camera. And Jeff Humphreys went, "What do you think about Matt Shea's bill?" "What bill?" "Oh, this bill." "Well, that's perfect timing, Matt, right as we're ending our memorial." "Oh, you forgot a phone call, too."
Okay.
Now, back to the photo. I offered to take a photograph with Matt Shea, too. I did. The last time I was on the phone with Matt on that issue was the Central Valley debate that they were going to have. I said, "Matt, I'm going to be at the debate. I'm doing the keynote. Would you like to have a photograph?" He said, "I'm not going to be there." All right? So, tried to mend that fence. So, Matt and I, we don't talk.
Well, okay, Sheriff, I have a question.
My
We
hand
have
is
an
up.
election coming up,
Yep.
and it's going to be contentious.
Mhm.
And I'm just asking you, are you willing to mend the fence with Matt Shea? Because it's in his best interest and in your best interest to have that happen.
Am I
As well,
willing?
as well as ours, because
And as well as
most of us
ours.
here love Matt, and we also want to support you.
And we don't just love him because because we watch the bills very closely. We watch what he votes no on. We watch the promises that he makes us and that he upholds us even though he's hated for it. So it's not just that, I want you to understand that our bottom line really is,
If I support Matt Shea.
no, our bottom line is.
Because I can't, folks, I won't.
Then we won't support you?
I guess that's the deal then.
We're not making that as a group, though. That's
No.
Okay?
her personal
All
decision.
right?
Now-
So, folks, the one, that, what?
Better get over there.
This is
why
this is
can't-
my wife.
Right.
I don't want her to
So why can't we mend the
engaged.
fence is all I'm asking.
Okay?
I mean,
Because
what
I don't
we
want her to
spelled
get in
out
an
here are
argument
really
with
silly
you.
things.
I know, these wives, they're bad.
But I'm telling you,
I'm
folks,
just saying, these seem silly, and so
No.
why can't we mend the
those are
fence?
not silly. Those are ethical issues.
No. they're
Especially-
pride-
especially-
They are pride issues.
No, especially when, after that shooting, a week after, Matt met with me and said, "Ozzie, we're 100% in support of the sheriff's office, anything we can do." And the next thing I know, he's doing all kinds of other stuff. And I'm going, where? So, folks, the one thing I can
Okay, wait, I gotta say
No,
something.
let him finish.
No, this is about this. You have,
He's in the middle of something.
no,
Let him finish.
no, because here, I've been waiting and I'm tired of waiting. Okay, so, what happened, because Creeches called me and asked me to do some research, and I talked to you about this, and Matt talked to you about this, and you refused to obey the law, and you're a man of law. So, what it is you have a law that says you cannot use unmarked police vehicles on private patrol. I went to the 1970 minutes, I gave you them, you
Did you go
saw
to the
them.
1939 minutes?
Okay, when
77,
they passed the law,
Okay.
they said to protect people from getting shot by police or sheriffs or whoever, deputies. Don't even look at me like that because I have given you the minutes. Matt has given him the minutes. You cannot
Matt has
use
not given me anything.
unmarked police cars except in very specific issues. You can't just patrol all over. You're violating the law. And Matt is a constitutional lawyer, and he expects you to follow the law and not use your unmarked police cars in private duty, like Mr. Creech was shot. This is a big issue, and you were wrong, and you refused to admit it, and that's why you and Matt are having problems on that bill. That's all I wanted to say. Sorry I hollered.
All right, now Judy, you are wrong.
Well,
Matt Shea never once talked to me about anything. Not once ever talked to me about that bill until I spun into that camera of Jeff Humphreys.
But does it matter if you
Now-
talk to
Matt and
No,
I have talked
no.
about it. I find
No.
that hard to believe.
He didn't.
Because I was right in the middle
He
of
didn't.
it. And you
He didn't.
do not have the authority by
No,
law to
Judy.
use those
Judy, let me
police
tell you what
cars.
I've done. I have talked to every lawyer there is in the state of Washington. Every lawyer. And not one of them says that we've done anything wrong.
You haven't talked to the right lawyers.
The state attorney general?
Oh, yeah.
Okay? The state
Okay,
attorney
we're not
general?
going to agree on this because
No, the state
you
attorney
want to
general.
use those patrol cars in inappropriate ways, and you're the big guy and you're going to do it. And it's wrong, and that's the
If
problem
we
we
were
have here.
wrong, if we were wrong,
You shot Scott Creech at his house
he did.
in an unmarked patrol car.
Let me tell you something.
That should make you pause.
Can I get a question?
Okay, hang on.
No, not
Let's-
with Judy.
Hey, Judy. Okay,
I'm done.
all right.
I'm done.
Hey, I liked your question. All right, statement. John's got a couple things that he'd like to ask, and then we'll go into.
Then I can wrap up?
Yeah, and then you can
But
have
can I
time to wrap
answer,
up.
can I answer this
We'll
first?
give you as much time as you need.
This is a lot to do with Matt Shea, and Matt Shea's not here. So honestly, if Matt Shea was here, I'd love to hear what both sides had to say. He's not here, so I'm only hearing one side.
No, you heard my
No,
side, which is
well, I
his
heard
side.
Ray's side, but I'm not hearing it out of Matt Shea's mouth. So
Yeah.
until then, I would rather move on if that's all right.
Okay, we'll drop
But
it.
the car issue.
Okay, the car
Car
issue.
issue.
Okay.
The car issue is this.
You're
Judy,
good at the door.
I have talked to every lawyer there is that I can find, all right? There is no violation, none. Now, more importantly, there was a lawsuit in that matter, correct? Okay?
And it was settled.
A lawsuit was filed in that matter. At issue was the use of that car. Have you read the judge's decision on the use of that car?
Right, the judge's decision came out, it was public, we know that he came down and would have thrown it out. Apparently the insurance company's lawyers didn't agree with him though, because they wanted to settle before he came out with the
Let me
decision, so,
finish that on that,
okay.
okay?
Who cares? Somebody's dead.
Let
You
him
should not be
finish.
doing it.
Hang on, I didn't finish.
Yeah. We tried to get that insurance company not to do that. We said, don't put that money on the table until the court says who's staying. Because I really wanted that case to go to trial, folks. I did. I wanted that case to go to trial. Because that's a case that should have gone to trial.
I agree with you because I really think we would have established that we should not be using private, unmarked cars on private property without the owner's knowledge.
It wouldn't have, but we should have gone to trial. The insurance company decided to put the money on the table. As soon as the judge went, Sheriff, you're in the clear, you did nothing wrong, which means my policy and the state law about the cars were in order. The county was dropped out of that, and immediately the money was taken on by the Creech family. We should have still wish we would have still gone to trial on that. Because, folks, I have had that case examined frontwards and backwards. There have been, I think, 6 reviews of that thing. On one review, I had my Citizen Advisory Board. Now, some people say, well, Sheriff, that's people that like you. You know how you get on the Citizen Advisory Board? Run into the sheriff at an airport in Denver, start talking about law enforcement issues, and I go, you want to be on a board? I don't know you at all. But you want to be on the board? You seem to have something to add. On top of that, I had the city ombudsman watch that whole process and review that. And then I also had a state ethicist review all of that to make sure everything was done up and above.
The Creech situation is over and done with. I'm asking you, do you feel that it is a reasonable thing to say that if you're going to have, because I love unmarked cars, I think they have a great use. Great use. I have nothing against them. But if I had an unmarked car parked in my property, I'd sort of like to know why is it, because my husband's going to tell you that I'm really weird, but we live out in the country, and I end up with a car parked in a country road, and you're not sure why it's there, and I just blatantly go up and ask him, you know, what are you there for? And blah, 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 blah. Now, you know, everybody's telling me, Cecily, you could be shot, or, you know, whatever.
Cecily?
I want to know if this is happening.
Cecily?
Cecily, can I ask a question? Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. Because I understand where you're coming from on this, and I asked this question of Douglas Orr when we talked with him, and so I would like to ask you, is there a time, because we're talking about shootings and whatnot, is there a time when a citizen has the right to use deadly force against a police officer?
If a police officer is violating the law.
So if he's on my property and he pulls a gun, I can shoot him?
So if he accidentally breaks down your door because he got the wrong house, is that a good case? I mean, he is technically following the law, he's just at the wrong location.
Yes, and that would be
and you are defending your house.
A horrible situation, and you didn't know who's coming in, and we didn't have the right to be there.
And they're coming in with force.
That would be a really interesting one to watch, but I think that you'd probably be in the clear because we were at the wrong place. Now, if you knew we were a police officer and you went ahead and shot us, that might be a little bit different, because all you have to do at that point is go, well, what are you doing here? I'm here, and we'd go, oh my gosh.
But Sheriff Knezovich, the bad guy can say police, and you go, oh, okay, and you get, so
yeah, I mean, we haven't had it here that I'm aware of where there's been a home invasion like that.
So I'm going to answer these questions.
Let's go ahead and
let's go to John and then wrap it up.
Well, first of all, thanks for coming tonight, Sheriff Knezovich, and just a couple of comments and a quick question. Number one, in all fairness to you, after the SPLC, you